Hello students. In the last class we had discussed about various methods of finding the capacity of a distribution reservoir. In this lecture we will discuss a numerical problem on how to find the capacity of uh, equalizing reservoir or the capacity of an equalizing storage reservoir by different methods. I had discussed two methods, namely the hydrograph method and the mass curve method. There is also another method which is called the analytical method, which is just an addition to whatever we have studied up to this point, right? So now we'll see the numerical problems. In this given problem, the table shows that the hourly demand of water for a maximum day from midnight to midnight, that is from 12 a.m. On a particular day to the 12 a.m. on the next day, right? So the 24-hour data, hourly data has been given in the table. Assuming that a 24-hour pumping at a uniform rate is being provided, we have to determine the storage capacity of the equalizing reservoir by hydrograph method, the mass curve method, and the analytical method. We'll also have to find out the rate of pumping, right? So here you can see the table. In the given table, we can see that the timing starts from the 0 to 1 hour, and since it's a 24-hour time scale, the values of the hourly demand are given for a complete period of 24 hours, right? So you can see, as I have discussed, that the water requirement, the hourly water requirement fluctuates all over the day, right? In the wee hours of the night, we see that the water requirement of the hourly demand in meter cube per hour is somewhat on the lower side, and as soon as the clock strikes the 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. mark, the early requirements starts to rise. Again, as I have discussed, that after 1 or 2 p.m. the early requirement starts to go down, and it again increases in the time of evening, right? And then again it falls down towards the end of the day, right? So you can see the hourly fluctuation in the water demand in meter cube per hour. So now we'll have to see that how to solve this numerical for finding the capacity of the reservoir by different methods. We have already been given this scale. Now what we do is, the column 1 is the time in hours, and the column 2 is the hourly demand in the meter cube per hour, right? So we had discussed in the mean curve method that what we do is we add up to the hourly demand by every hour. For example, the first hour's demand is 275. In the second hour we will accumulate it by adding the second hour's demand, that is 275 would be added to 208, then there will be given value. Then this 200 would be, then whatever the sum of 275 and 208 is, then we will add the 3, that is 228 given in the second column, and so on up to the last hour, right? So we will have the accumulated value of the total water requirement over a maximum day, right? What we do is, we'll do the total requirement first, that is the hourly demand that has been given. We'll add up it all, and then we'll divide it by 24, that is for 24 hours pumping, unless and until you have been mentioned that it's a 12-hour pumping cycle, then only you can divide it by 12. But since it has been given that it is a 24-hour pumping cycle, then you have to add up to the from 0 hours to 24 hours and divide it by 24. By dividing it by 24, the total sum of the hourly demand, we gets to a value of 528.3 meter cube per hour. This will be our pumping rate, that is the requirement of water at which rate should be pumped throughout the day, comes out as a mean of the total requirement, which is 528.3 meter cube per hour. So what we have basically done is, we have drawn a table. The first two columns, as I already told you, are the given values which were already given, and the third column is the accumulated demand. I have discussed what is the accumulated demand. You can see that for 0 to 1 hour the accumulated demand is same as the hourly demand, because it is the first hour. So 275, and the third column also states 275. But in the next row we can see that between 1 and 2 a.m. the water requirement in the early water requirement was 208. So what we have done is the early requirement, that is 275 in the 0 to 1 hour, is added by 208 in the 1 to 2 hours time period. It comes out as 483. Then again what we do is between 2 to 3 the early requirement is 228, we add it up to 483 and we find 711. Similarly, in the 3 to 4 hours the early demand was 238, we add up it into 711, we find the value 949, and so on. We will continue this process until the final value of the 24 hours is being achieved, right? This scale is for finding the value of the accumulated demand that we had discussed in the mean hourly demand method, right? Then in the fourth column what we are doing is that we have made two column in the fourth column, a negative column and there is a positive column. So what we are doing is the mean value, that is the pumping rate that we had found out. How did we find out the pumping rate? We had found out pumping rate by adding up all the values in the column 2 and dividing it by the 24, right? So we had figured out that the pumping rate required for water throughout the day in the maximum day is 528.3. So we are using this mean value and subtracting the value in the column 2 for finding that how much the water is in deficiency or how much the water is in excess. We had told you that the storage requirement is equal to the maximum excess supply through pumping and maximum excess of demand through pumping, right? Any maximum deficiency, as we had discussed in the mass curve method. So what we are doing in the second column is we are subtracting the column 2's value by 528.3. On doing so, if the value exceeds 528.3, that is in the for example you can see in the 7 to 8 hours the requirement was 628 and our mean is 528. So we had found out the value 99.7. Similarly, in the first row you can see that the early demand was 275 and the pumping rate was 528. So a positive value was achieved. So this is basically the process. If the requirement is lesser than the pumping rate, then we'll find a positive value. If the requirement is more than the pumping rate, we'll find a negative value, right? So as you can see that the mean demand for the day we have calculated. So we will always have the sum of the positive values and the sum of the negative value to come as equal, because this is the entire demand for 24 hours, right? So when the demand for 24 hours is calculated, the pumping rate ensures that there is an equal amount of pumping so that it can serve us in the time of deficiency also as well as in the time of surplus, right? So we have made this table, and from this table you can see that the accumulated water requirement in the last hour was 12,679, and also we have add up the negative values of the mean hourly demand minus hourly demand and the positive values. As I have told you that the negative value and the positive value will come up as equal, that is 2434.4. This is somewhat equal, it should come as equal, but due to approximation this value can be different by very small margin, right? So again, when we have the accumulated value, we can find out the average demand. The average demand is the total accumulated water requirement divided by 24. This should come equal to the mean value, because this is what we are supplying, this is the amount of water we are supplying, and since the amount of water that we are supplying is the mean requirement, then it is should also be equal to the average water requirement for the day, right? So you can easily see that the average demand is 528.3 meter cube per hour. Also the pumping rate was also 528.3 meter cube per hour. So this will always come as equal. Now we have to draw a hydrograph. As we have discussed, the hydrograph is a graph which is being plotted between demand and the time, right? So the line PQ, you can see that line PQ is the 24-hour pumping rate, that is the mean hourly demand. again that is 528. When we plot this graph, the positive values will always come into this shaded area where the requirement is more. So since the requirement is more in that period, then we'll always have the need for the equalizing storage or equalizing reservoir. So the portion in the shaded area, the between the line PQ, which is the mean hourly demand, and the curve BCD, will give you the total required storage. This required storage will also be equal to the value 2434.4, right? So you can find it by the use of planimeter, or in numerical if it comes in exam, you can simply write it down as the value that you have achieved in this column, right? So this is your hydrograph method. I don't think this will come in exam because you'll always need a lot of calculations to calculate this area, but the mass curve method is pretty easy. So what we are doing is, in the mass curve method, we have drawn a curve, right? This curve that you can see, this is the mass curve of demand. Also we have drawn a straight line AB from 0 to B, right? So we have drawn a tangent which is parallel to the line AB, okay, on the maximum point on the curve and the minimum point on the curve. You can see the maximum point on the curve is the point D, and the minimum point on the curve is, the lowest point on the curve is the point C. So we'll from the graph we will find the value CC dash, and we will find the value of DD dash. We'll add it up to find the value of EF, right? This EF multiplied by 10 to the power 3 will give you the total storage requirement, right? This will always also come as the same value that we had achieved in the previous slide. The fourth column represents the analytical method. This analytical method is the most suitable method because here you can find the answers without using a planimeter or without drawing a graph system. So you can see that the value of the mean hourly demand will always come as equal in all the methods, right? Thank you so much.